What franchise buyers need to know about FDDs, by Joe Mathews, CEO of Franchise Performance Group and author of The Ultimate Guide to Responsible Franchising. While the Franchise Disclosure Document, or FDD, is the document that defines the legal relationship between you and the franchisor, the true relationship between franchisees and solid and reputable franchisors transcends the obligations outlined in the FDD and franchise agreements. These are deeply committed personal and commercial relationships. When franchisees and franchisors pull out the franchise agreement to define their relationship, it is because the personal and commercial relationships have been damaged and trust violated. This almost never happens if both parties act reasonably. Although it may not be described in these words in the FDD, the roles and responsibilities of the franchisor are to do whatever it takes, within reason, to give franchisees the tools necessary to win and to maintain the integrity of the brand. Your role and responsibility as franchisees is equally simple: to master the franchisor's business model, to deliver products and services to your customers to the best of your ability, consistent with the spirit and intent of the franchisor. You also are responsible for maintaining the integrity of the brand. Franchisees' profitability, meaning your success, is the lifeblood of any franchise organization. If franchisees are not profitable, the franchise system eventually collapses like a house of cards. Franchisors are not sustainable without the royalties paid in by franchisees. Building a successful franchise system requires building on the successes of profitable franchisees. However, no franchisor is going to expressly state in a franchise agreement that it is their responsibility to make you successful. They will promise to develop tools and systems for you to use. Your role is to do whatever it takes to succeed while using the franchisor's tools, personnel, and systems. They will place the responsibility squarely on your shoulders, and the FDD will reflect this. Also, do not let the language of the FDD spook you. Franchise candidates often misinterpret the overall intent of the franchise agreement, thinking the FDD allows the big bad franchisor to turn the screws and put the poor franchisees out of business. Think of the FDD this way: if franchisees are happy and profitable, they stand much to lose if you or another new franchisee goes rogue and tarnishes the brand. FDDs and franchise agreements are written so no one rogue franchisee can take down an entire brand. It protects the collective investments cooperative, profitable, and problem-solving franchisees have already made. Later in this video, we will show you where franchisors need to disclose open and closed lawsuits. If a franchisor and franchisees don't show litigation, I assure you it isn't because there is no conflict. Franchisees are entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs value independence and control. These drivers are a constant source of conflict. The franchisees and franchisors have learned to identify and resolve conflict in more responsible ways. All FDDs follow the same format, mandated by federal and state regulators. They all consist of 23 items plus any exhibits and appendices the franchisor includes. Consider the first 23 items to be a summary of the entire document. It is written in plain English and should be relatively easy to understand. In Item 1, you will see a general company review, including any predecessors or affiliates. This tells you what related companies the franchisor owns or is affiliated with. If you see any conflicts of interest, discuss these with the franchisor. Item 2, lists the names, titles, and work history of officers, directors, and key employees. This explains who is leading the charge and who is responsible for adding value to your investment. Ask yourself, is this the team that can build a brand and help me succeed? Item 3 describes 10 years of open and closed litigation. Do the franchisee and franchisor have a history of suing each other? If not, you can assume they resolve their conflicts in more adult and responsible ways and do what it takes to keep disputes out of the hands of their respective lawyers. FPG likes to see under 2% litigation. In other words, if a chain has 100 franchisees, we like to see 2 cases or less of open litigation over a 10-year period. If you see some litigation, discuss it with the franchisor. Item 4. Bankruptcy. Has the company or any of the officers declared bankruptcy in the past? FPG likes to see 0 bankruptcy with the company and its officers. However, it isn't uncommon for one officer to experience a bankruptcy. Unfortunately, stuff happens. If this is a common theme, the franchisor may be fostering a culture of financial irresponsibility. Item 5. Initial fees. What are the franchise fees? Are these in line with similar concepts and franchising in general? Most franchisors keep the initial franchise fee under $60,000. Item 6. This section itemizes ongoing costs such as royalties, advertising, renewal, and transfer fees. Are these in line with similar concepts? Are these fees adding value to my business, or is the franchisor siphoning money from franchisees without adding corresponding value? Item 7. Breakdown of the initial investment. What is the total cost to get started? The FTC requires something odd here. You will find ranges, but not averages. In other words, the FTC requires the franchisor to disclose the least you may invest and the most. However, reality is somewhere in the middle. Make sure you ask the franchisor what is typical and expected. Item 8. Who are the approved suppliers? Who do I purchase products from? Item 9 details your obligations to the franchisor and brand. This is what franchisors count on the franchisees for. Pay particular attention to this section as you are 100% responsible for what is listed here. Item 10 describes available financing sources. Most franchisors have relationships with third-party financing companies and do not offer direct financing themselves. Item 11 details the franchisor's obligations to franchisees. This is what you can count on the franchisor for in the way of training, support, and other services. Often, franchisors provide franchisees with much more than they obligate themselves to under the agreement. Don't assume this section thoroughly details their ongoing support. Item 12. Territory descriptions. What, if any, protected territory does the franchisor offer franchisees? What does the territory entail, such as size, population, or other criteria? Item 13. Trademarks. The franchisor should be able to protect their marks without the potential of a trademark conflict. Make sure the trademark is secure in all 50 states. If not, have the franchisor explain. Item 14. Patents and copyrights. Does the franchisor own any patents or copyrights? Most franchisors don't own or need to own patents. For instance, McDonald's cannot patent a hamburger or Subway a sandwich. Item 15. Day-to-day management requirements. Are you obligated to offer the business your full-time efforts? Item 16. Products and services a franchisee may sell. What restrictions exist? Are restrictions reasonable and rational? Item 17. How to renew or transfer a business. This details how to sell your business or how to renew once the term of your agreement has expired. Most franchisors have a first right of refusal to buy your business at the same price someone else has offered. Most franchisees have the right to renew by paying a simple renewal fee. Item 18. Which, if any, public figures represent the brand? FPG is not a fan of brand spokespeople. Given enough time, public figures sometimes implode, tarnishing the brand and hurting franchisees. Remember Jared from Subway? Item 19. Financial performance representations. This answers the question of how much money I can make. Franchisors should disclose average revenues and give you an idea of their business's overall financial performance. Contact franchisees to determine averages are holding up in similar territories you are investing in. Item 20. Number of outlets and franchisees. Is the chain growing, flat, or declining? Are franchisees expanding, which is a good sign, or selling, or worse, closing, which is an obvious bad sign? FPG likes to see less than 5% of franchisees selling in any given year. When franchisees exit, are they selling at a premium, which is a good thing, or at a loss? While resale prices are not disclosed, franchisee contact information is included in the FDD. Item 21. Franchisor financials. Is the franchisor appropriately capitalized to grow and support franchisees effectively? Item 22. Franchise agreements and other agreements. Franchisees must sign to join the chain. The terms of the franchise agreement should reflect the individual 23 items described in the FDD. Item 23. Acknowledgement of receipt. This is what franchisees sign to acknowledge receiving the FDD document. There is no obligation to sign and send this back to the franchisor. When it comes time to sign your agreement, you may have an attorney review the FDD. If you go down this road, only hire a franchise specialist. Many attorneys will tell you they know something about franchising and can review an FDD, thinking a franchise agreement is like any other business contract. However, franchising is a highly nuanced business. Unless an attorney specializes in franchising, he or she will not know the ins and outs of franchising and what franchisors will and will not do. It has been our experience that franchise candidates who hire attorneys outside of franchising receive pages and pages of copious legal notes, high legal bills, because the attorneys don't already know what to look for. And in the end, don't get the expert advice they paid for because the franchisor declines most or all of the requested changes. Don't expect the franchisor to negotiate the terms of the agreement. Most of the time, these agreements are set in stone, so as you review it, assume these are the terms under which you will be doing business. Remember, you don't have to like it, you just have to live with it. Lastly, keep in mind what we said earlier. If you choose the right franchisor, your relationship will be personal, not legal. If you did your homework and pick the right franchise brand, you will engage in positive business conversations with your franchisor while your agreement sits in your hard drive or on your cloud, never to be looked at until it is time to renew.